Welcome to Lipstick, Laughs and Leadership, the podcast where we talk real leadership without the corporate BS.
We're Jodie and Emma, and this is a space for honest, human conversations about confidence, influence, well-being, and what it really takes to lead in today's world.
This podcast is for women who are capable, ambitious and thoughtful, but who might sometimes feel tired, stretched, or quietly question whether there's another way to do leadership.
There's no jargon here, no rigid rules, and certainly no pretending. Just lived experience, straight talk, laughter, and leadership that actually feels good on the inside.
So grab a cuppa, get yourself comfortable,
and welcome to the sofa. Hello! Welcome back to Lipstick, Laughs and Leadership. We've made it to double figures.
episode 10.
Yeah, I guess if we've done 10 episodes and we've got quite a few listeners now, not loads, but quite a few, but do we think we can class ourselves in the influencer category?
My granddad keeps telling people that's what I do for a living, so I don't know where he's got that from, but yeah, apparently that's what he thinks I am, an influencer. Hi, Grandad, if you listen.
He might be one of our small pool of podcast listeners so far. Bit of a pun, because the topic for this week's episode is all around influence, not in the Instagram or TikTok sense, although you could probably use a bit of this for Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
A little bit more, obviously, in the leadership sense. So for your personal life as well, but in a work context is the topic for discussion today.
Absolutely.
What's the book? Is it? We love it. We also talk about books. Is it Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends?
Oh yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence.
There's a classic,
an old one, but a good one.
Yeah,
and quite often when you mention it, people have read it. So yeah, definitely. Because influencing, it's important in leadership, because whether you're influencing the people in your team, whether you are influencing stakeholders, customers, people above you, I think it's important at every level, isn't it?
Exactly. And we're dressed for spring today.
We are.
Spring has officially sprung.
Yes.
Has it? Yeah, it probably isn't. I bet if you're listening or watching this today, it's pissing down, blowing a hoolie.
If you're listening to it in the UK.
For sure. But anyway, we're embracing the change of season.
Yeah.
Now that we've moved out of the dark winter months, and we're recording this not long after the clocks have gone forward. Well, it's our first recording session since the clocks have gone forward. So we've got the frocks out.
It's nice to have the lighter evenings, definitely.
Yeah, we are influenced by that. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the topic of influence, and particularly influencing without authority, because a lot of people go, well, I haven't got the weight, I'm not senior enough to influence these situations, and we want to be able to change that for you quite a bit. So that's why this topic of conversation has come up. We have a number of coaching clients between us that are they don't always come and say, I need help with my influence. But when you start talking about a lot of issues, quite often that's the skill gap, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And actually, I was only last week or the week before, delivered a project management course. A lot of the people in the room, or most of the people in the room, going to be a project manager on a particular project, or were at the time. But maybe their project team had people more senior than them on it, B, people that don't directly report into them, and maybe they felt like the project sponsor didn't support them enough. And they actually said, when we feel like we've got the title of project manager on this project, we don't feel that we've got that level of authority, which links into them when we're trying to influence people. It's really hard. And I think when you are a project manager and you've got a project team, that can be harder to influence people, can't it? When you've got the triangle, so to speak, the three things to protect, which is your cost, your quality, and the time. And you've got to manage all them things and protect the scope. So you've got to have that level of influence, haven't you?
I couldn't project manage my way out of a cardboard box. I couldn't help you in that one. I'm like zone out at the project management thing. Not one of my skills. I've got many other talents and skills. project management is not one.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's a real empowerment to be able to influence without authority. You know, so this isn't about being able to pull rank or JFDI. I've gone for whatever acronym.
JFDI.
If anyone's not familiar with that, it stands for just fucking do it, which is how a lot of leaders get shit done. Yeah, actually, that is not. It's not the cool way to do it, and it's not the most powerful and most influential way to do it. So, you know, today's about exploring some other ways to do that. You know, so we believe. Well, I know I do. I think you do. Actually, your influencing skill set matters way more than your job title or what grade you are.
Yeah.
I can't believe how gradist so many businesses are, you know.
I know. Yeah. It's,
Particularly public sector. I mean, that goes without saying. I've worked in a couple of, organisations, private sector organisations last few months, and it feels like it's going backwards grade-wise. We went through a phase in like the noughties or the tens, probably the 10, where I felt like organisations were getting flatter. There was less hierarchy. You know, everyone was like structuring a bit like Apple and Google and, you know, organisations like that. And now it just feels like now we've got more layers than ever.
Yeah. And I think actually, when you look at some research from the newer generation that are coming through, they don't want that hierarchy. And I don't know whether it is because maybe people of other generations feel like they've got that level coming in. And because they're maybe a bit more, I don't know what the right word to use is. I don't want to use the word savvy or argumentative or just, I don't know, maybe push back a little bit more. It's almost like the only way that they know how to deal with that. They think influences, you know, but if we're telling to do something and we ask, well, why have I got to? Well, because I said so.
Because I said so.
Because I'm your manager.
Yeah. Either that you're the manager or you're older than them, so that entitles you to some kind of respect.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case anymore.
No.
You know what? That's a really important complexity, I think, is we've never had this many generations in the workplace at one time.
Yeah.
You know, so we've still got baby boomers. We've got Gen X.
Yeah.
We've got us Zennials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm X.
You know,
No,
you're not, because you're younger than me, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I class myself as a Zennial. So it's a
Right.
mix between a Gen X and a millennial.
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, personal information, but I was born in 79.
Yes.
And I always wanted to be a millennial. And I was
That
one
was it.
year out of the millennial camp. I was fuming. I had to sit in Gen X.
Yeah.
But they've made this new category. And
Yeah.
apparently we're the coolest kids on the block.
Right.
Because we're the Zennials.
Yeah.
So X.
Yeah.
With the annuals. You know, we bridged, sorry, going off on a little tangent. We bridged the analog digital time scale. We were the
Right.
kids who still played out on our bikes, but we had the internet.
And right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was born in 80, so kind of on the
You actually did make it in the millennial camp then. Sure, millennial runs from 80.
Yeah.
So baby boomers, Gen X, Zennials, millennials.
Yeah.
Then what did we go? Gen Z.
Yeah.
Now Alpha are hitting the work.
Is that what
the
they're
work?
right?
My youngest kid is an Alpha. So it's a lot. It's a bit of a tangent to go this many generations in the workforce, but the expectations are very different. If you think like your granddad could be in the workforce, or your great granddad could be in the workforce with a great granddaughter, and obviously their path to adulthood has been very, very different. So your upbringing has been very, very different, and obviously that shaped a lot of this. So I just think it's important to recognise that when we think about how we go about having influence.
Yeah, and it's definitely not about pulling rank and stuff.
No, that's shit.
Yeah, because I'm your manager. You know.
I said so.
Yeah.
So we want to kind of help you, especially women, because I think women feel more so that it's harder to have that influence.
Yeah.
For many reasons, probably. But actually, let's try and just bust a few myths around that and think about what are some of the skill set, mindset, technique to be able to have a little bit more influence. So whenever I run a workshop on this, there's one place that I always start. I usually start with a 4 corners, like 4 corner exercises.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll have 4 words up, one in each corner of the room. Clearly, one of them is influence. Then I have persuade.
Yeah.
Then I have manipulate, and I have negotiate, 4 words.
Yeah.
And then they've got like definitions on little cards, and they have to go and try and match up the definition with the right word.
Yeah.
And it's really, really interesting because, number one, I don't think many people have ever really given any thought to there being a difference in those 4 words. I think a lot of people use them interchangeably.
They do, yeah.
So, yeah.
Especially like, well, and people talk a lot about influencing and negotiating skills. They kind of come at
It's a totally different thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and persuading.
Yeah.
Persuading for me is a bit like begging.
Yeah.
So, all right, it might work sometimes, but it's not the best way and the most credible. So we come at this from a leadership angle. It's not the most credible way.
No.
And manipulate, that's just shit. But a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
And call it influence.
Yeah.
You know, so know the difference between those 4 things. Manipulation is coercive, it's underhand, it has a hidden agenda. So you're secretly trying to get your own way. Or it might even involve, you know, emotional blackmail, bribery, having someone's arm up the back.
Yeah.
To get what you want.
Yeah.
Get rid of manipulation straight away. But I think, negotiate. You know, how do you define negotiation? We often think negotiation like in a sales.
That's what I think it's when you negotiate, it's I've never even thought about the definition before, but I suppose it's you've got it's where you meet.
Yeah.
So you've got a point in mind and I've got a point in mind. And it's how do we negotiate so that we meet somewhere in the middle of something that we agree.
So it's like a compromise, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I don't know if we've said on this podcast before, but compromise is shit. You know, in the grand scheme of collaboration, if we're going to say collaboration is the 21st century leadership skill, which I absolutely believe it is. There's no room really for compromise, or very little.
Yeah. I think it has its place sometimes when you'd feel that both parties are not going to get anywhere, and so you've got to agree to disagree. But if it's overused, no one's ever really truly satisfied, because I'm getting a bit of what I want, you'll get a bit of what you want, but it also means I'm losing a bit of what I want. So you lose it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying never compromise. No. But don't be too quick to go there.
No.
You know, it's not a good outcome. It's an all right outcome. It's a second-rate outcome if you can't get a better outcome.
Yeah. Whereas the collaboration, we've said it on other podcasts, is coming up with that third alternative that we're both happy with. That's
you can't, actually explore it properly with enough courage and consideration. You can get an outcome better than both of you ever imagined.
Yeah.
It's more than win-win. And a lot of people are like, as if. Well, that's because you've never experienced it.
Yeah.
You know, come back to me when you've experienced it and had a go. Yeah, so negotiation for me, you're right, meet in the middle. It's like it's like a game, negotiation for me, because we know what's going to happen. Yeah. The classic business scenario I see it in is budget time. You know, and every department has to submit their budget requests. So everybody overinflates their ask because they know they're going to get beaten down to probably around 50% of that. And that's really what they were after in the first place. Yeah. So what a silly game that is. Rather than, why can't we all just be clear and honest about what we actually want and need, and and that's what we do. But obviously that's a very deeply ingrained behaviour in a lot of organisations.
It's like when you're selling something on Vinted and you put it above, because people are going to put an offer on it. You might be selling something. I saw actually a meme the other day, and it was a snapshot of like people's messages off Vinted, and it's something like, they had something like on Vinted for like £2, and someone was like, would you sell it for 180? And the person response was like, mate, it's 20p. And why do I negotiate around 20p?
Probably just wasted 20p in electricity of typing on your laptop.
Yeah.
It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah. But some people like that negotiation.
Well, I think there's a plus to it, isn't there? It's like you're winning. or losing. And we like to win or lose, whereas it doesn't have to be like, it shouldn't be like that in leadership, for sure. So, and then persuade, I think I mentioned, that's more around pleading and begging somebody to do something for you or the way that you want it done. I'd rather not.
It's interesting that you say it. I'm just thinking of those, how you sort of pleaded and the begging, because I immediately think persuading is very push. I'm going to push you into my way of thinking. Again, I think it from a sales point of view is persuaded something to buy something that actually they might get buyer's remorse after because they got persuaded into it. So it's interesting that. Yeah.
And I would guess they all fall into that category. I think what the commonality is there, I am thinking on my feet now, is that you are on your own agenda.
Yes.
I'm not really thinking about yours. So whether I'm being pushy or I'm pleading and begging, I'm trying to get what I want.
Yeah.
And that's the issue, I think, because the real definition of influence is, it's about power. It's about the power to cause something to happen. Yeah. So for something to change, for, a belief to shift. Yeah. The bit that most people have never really considered is if you are really, really influential, then that is as much about you being open to having your mind changed as it is to trying to change somebody else. It's almost like you let go of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not
coachable yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be open to being influenced. Yeah.
Absolutely. So there's no push, there's no beg, there's no plead. And it's I think where its heart is around what is the type of power. Because I use the word power when I describe the definition of influence. And I don't know, when I coach women, I don't know if you notice this, if you ever talk about power, a lot of women I coach get really twitchy when I talk about power, almost as if it's like not a good thing to have it or want to have it. And like, what have you got a positive or a negative connotation attached to power? And a lot of them are like negative. And I think that's because most people's experience is of positional power, pulling rank, authority, because I said so, JFDI.
Yeah.
So we know that's not nice. We don't know a better alternative.
It's interesting because power isn't probably a word that's like in my vocabulary. And so it's interesting just thinking about it, because I think I probably think about it as I'm in power. I'm the one that's in power. Or I often hear people say these days, other powers that be have said, this needs to be done. That's interesting.
I've got loads of unconscious negative connotation.
I don't know if you even could see me on the camera, but I even rolled my eyes when I went, the powers that be. That's what people tend to say.
Whereas, true influence is about personal power, not positional power. And that is more around the fact that you it's about doing the right thing, the important thing, the good thing for the greater good. Yeah, so you are advocating for or speaking up on behalf of the belief to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's different. And then the power comes from your influence sits within your skill set of how you bring that to life.
Yeah.
And how you articulate yourself, and that you are not on your own agenda. So it's less attached to an outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I talked about this in an episode 1 or 2 ago. How did I word it? Brain fart today. Brain fart. I can't even get brain about right. Worded it as, come on, Jodie. Think. Well, it'll come back to me in a minute. Bugaboo. Anyway, it's about personal power.
Yeah.
Personal power. And that is, positions, not interest.
Right.
There you go. It came eventually.
Positional power.
Yeah. So we don't come into a room and state our position, i.e., I want this.
Yeah.
We come into a room and we state our interest.
Yes.
i.e. it's important that we have the customer's best interests at heart, not I want this decision. I don't know if that makes sense as an example.
Well,
I'm so sorry, I lost my marbles there.
No, don't apologise. But no, I think what you're saying there is I think sometimes about the best way to kind of start from an influencing point of view is explaining the purpose or the reasons why. So, like you just said then, because it's in the best interest of the customer. You know, I had somebody that I was coaching a while ago that said, "Oh, I'm just not getting on with a colleague." And some of the examples she shared was when I send them an email and I ask them to do some things for the, so she's a project manager, and I'm asking this person, or I need some information, or I'm asking them to do certain things for the project. I'm not getting any response from him, or I'm not getting it in a timely manner. And, you know, and I need it because it has an impact then on the project. It's like a domino effect, isn't it? Anyway, part of what we talked about was the fact that on this email, she's not starting the email with the the importance of getting the information, B, the reason why she's maybe needs it, well, not putting a deadline on it, and the reasons why, or maybe the consequences if she doesn't get it for that time. And so she just subtly changed the email to kind of, you know, say something along the lines of, um, you know, if you could, I'll need this information. The client has asked for it because of X, Y, and Z. And the way that she changed it completely changed his response to it because she started it with the why. And I think, you know, we've talked a little bit about selling there when we talked about negotiating and persuading, but I always say to leaders, being a leader kind of has the same principles as selling a product. Just that you're not selling a product, you're selling yourself in a way. Like your which is where the influence comes in, because you are wanting people to buy into that and be influenced by the things that you're saying.
Yeah, and your vision and what you're going after.
Yeah. And the important, and I think it's important that people understand, like you said, why it's important, and explaining how did you do it was positioning versus
Personal power. Yeah. State your interest, not your position.
That's it. Yeah. The interest. And so, you know, I think also when you're trying to influence where you're genuinely more passionate about something and you believe in it, it almost, you don't have to think about it because it naturally, that passion and that interest and that belief comes across. Where when you try to persuade, it almost feels like, well, I'm not really fully bought into this myself, but because I'm
I've just got to do it.
I've got to persuade you to be on board. Yeah.
Because it's like, I'll lose my bonus or I won't hit my KPIs if I don't get it. So the motive's wrong.
Yeah. I remember years ago when I was a body shop owner consultant.
She did that?
Well, it was a long time before social media even existed. Yeah, so I had a 9 to 5 job, but then I used to do these body shop parties in the evenings. And I noticed I was one of the best salespeople in like the area that I covered. But I noticed that I would sell the products that I genuinely used and loved because I would enthuse about them. But I'd also be very honest. And I think this is where influencing comes into where people have got to believe you and what you say. Because I was very honest about products that I didn't particularly wear. Funnily enough, I didn't sell very many of those, but I sold the ones that I enthused about. And it wasn't because I was being fake with that to sell the product. I benefited from it, and I wanted people to feel that benefits. I remember once they brought this lipstick out that was like, it was meant to stay on your lips for like 24 hours. And in the training, they told us like, take donuts to the parties and like show people how you can put it on eat donut and it's still on. But it had a very, I'm still not really a massive fan of stale lipsticks because I think that they
drying.
Yeah, and leave it just feels very funny on your lips. And so I was honest and said I had a couple of samples, but I said I don't really wear them. I prefer like these others. And I didn't sell any of them. But then people then knew that when I did say, but this is amazing, I was influencing them more because it's like, well, I trust now because you've told me that you're not saying everything is amazing by it all. Yeah. I could influence them more in terms of things I genuinely believed in. So I think there's something to be said for that.
That leads to a perfect point, I think, about when it comes to the moment where you feel like I need influence right now. If you've not done the groundwork, it's too late.
Yes.
Yeah, because you've mentioned the word trust there a lot. So, you build this over time.
Yeah.
Your trust and your credibility is what gives you influence in the moments that matter.
Yeah.
So it's about how you show up in the day to day.
Yeah.
That make the most difference. So when it comes to the crunch point of, like in your body shop example of the sale, they know that what they experience of you is genuine, it's authentic, it's transparent, it's real, it's honest.
Yeah.
So they're going to go with what you say because you showed up as your best self the rest of the time when it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks so much more. Whereas I see a lot of leaders get laser focused on, I've got this meeting and I've got to influence everybody in this meeting. Well, you've blown it already. Too late. Forget it.
Yeah.
You have to do the groundwork earlier. Plus, you're already trying to go in there and get people to do what you want to do rather than being open about doing the right thing. And that might mean that you might get influenced too, and you might get your mind changed. There's not enough people going into a room like that.
No, absolutely. No, I think, just being think there, what I talk about as well with influences, people, and I know we talk a lot about collaboration. It's about influencing people when you bring people together and genuinely ask them and let them know that they've got a voice as well. Because, influence and credibility doesn't come from a job title. Like you said, it's over time. When people feel like they're listened to and they're heard, it's like
Represented.
yeah, absolutely. Like I've said before, like when I inherit the team, I've done this in the past where you're not going to influence a team if you come in day one as a manager, get all your team into a room and say, right, these are my ground rules of how I expect you to work, for me and with together as a team. And then these are my 10 key rules. You're not going to get buy-in for that. People are like, who in life is this person? Whereas actually, if you say, as from today, I'm your new manager. I'd love for us to see this as a fresh start. It'd be great if we could have some conversations about some agreed ways of working for you as a team. If you want to come up with, it doesn't have to be a set number, but if you want to come up with some key things that you think are important, let them have a discussion about it. There may be a couple of things in your mind that you'd like to add to that. But as long as if you've asked them first and then you go, that's great, and all those things you've come up with, I think brilliant for a fresh start. Is it all right if I just have one more thing? They'll be like, oh yeah. They'll almost feel embarrassed to go, oh God, shit, we didn't ask you. And you go, what about if we had this one more thing on? And so that's where that influence, you've listened to that, like you said, you've listened to them, and then we'll want it to be on board with what you
As a strategy, reciprocity, flipping love that word.
Yes, I was struggling
To say it, don't you? Reciprocity is a proper, strong influencing strategy.
Yeah. It's one of the 6 laws of Robert. Is it Robert
Cialdini?
Or Robert, that's how you say it, isn't it? Cialdini. Yeah, it is reciprocity. Yeah. Kind of people did say, I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Yeah, what are some of the others? Because there are 6, aren't there?
Yeah, oh no.
What's the bloody book called?
I read the book actually.
I have, and I can't remember what it's called.
I think one of them's the law of liking.
Likeability is one.
Which is where social media has its place with influencing. If other people are liking it, or if you, it's like that no like and trust factor.
Yeah. There's another one that's, these aren't the words, but like safety in numbers. Sometimes, it's about rather than just try and influence something by yourself.
Yeah.
Actually get a group of people together to rally for something.
I can't think what it's called.
No,
you're more likely to be influenced by something if you see other people.
Yeah.
Again, which is where the whole influence on social
media. Social conformity, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, that's why like in restaurants, they will often, if the restaurant's empty, the first people they'll seat you by the windows. Because if you look in, it's, it looks quite busy in there. Yeah. It's like when I used to work at Films View, and I could tell you this now, FilmStreet doesn't exist, but one of the strategies was if the store was quiet, store manager would get the some of the sales consultants to go and put a coat on and sit on the other side of the desk like them customers, so that people walk past and go, "What's busy ones? What customers sat in there? They're buying phones, aren't they? Like, maybe I'm due for an upgrade," kind of thing. So
That feels a bit more like manipulation, but
well, yeah, but it was playing
Yeah.
on that particular influencing
Yeah.
more that you go, okay. It's like when you see people queue, you know, if you ever like walk past sometimes people are queuing up and you go, oh, what they're giving away in there?
It's FOMO, isn't
Yeah.
it? Create a bit of FOMO. Almost definitely has a bit of influence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess so.
Is it that the law of follow? Is it following? I think
Something like
now.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I guess the thing that's about is there's more than one way to skin a cat. You don't have to be a one-trick pony when it comes to influencing. It is about having the toolkits.
Yeah.
You know, and just as we were describing some scenarios there, you'll remember this from when we used to be in Ladies Life Lounge together. Do you remember masturbating?
Yes.
Yeah. I think actually people are thinking, what shit? What shit? Yeah, we used to masturbate all the time.
Yeah.
But it is a U.
Still do
It's
now.
masturbate, not an A for masturbate. But if you want to do, well, do the one with the A, don't do the one with the U. It's what I would say. Masturbate, don't masturbate. That's what we'll call this episode. Yeah. But yeah, it was a principle. Masturbating is not very influential because it's where we use pressure words, either with ourselves or with other people, and sometimes with our teams when we're trying to get things done. You know, so it's like when we say, I need you to do this, you've got to do that, you have to do the other, you must do this, well, you should really do that. All of those types of words, whether it's you or I, put pressure on, and that doesn't have a lot of influence.
No, and I would say that probably comes on the persuasion side, doesn't it?
Whereas if you just literally exchange some of those words too, it's important that, it would be good if, we'll feel better when, it would be nice to, yeah, it's essential or critical that. So even if it kind of has to be done, it's either essential, important or critical.
Beneficial.
Beneficial.
As well,
Yeah, they are more permission words. They're empowering words. They're words that draw people towards feeling compelled to feel part of something or do something. So I know we end up going back to specific bits of language quite often when we talk about different topics. But it rears its head again in this one, is that it's actually really important. You know, call it sometimes either above the line or below the line language. Does your language feel heavy and negative and like it's like, oh God, that sounds like a load of effort? Or does it feel quite buoyant and attractive and light? You know, think, oh, that sounds quite exciting to be part of. So, you know, the message could be the exact same message, but literally changing just a couple of words in it can mean the difference about whether it's got magnetic pull or, well, guess the opposite. Does it repel? Two ends of a magnet?
Yeah, you're making me think. I've not used it for a while, but there is like an influencing questionnaire that I used to use, and there's 4 things for that. I can't think what they are, but 2 of them are more push, and 2 of them are more pull. I'm just imagining on my slide that I used to use, but I can't think what the 4 things are. And I'll kick myself later because I don't remember it, but I've not talked about it for a while.
I built an influencing toolkit a few years ago. And I think it had 6 premises that were very similar to the book we've just been talking about. Then I think it had 8 characteristics of influential people. And then there were 26 techniques. So each technique had a very specific name. So when you did the combination, basically, I think it had somewhere in the region of 752 different influencing strategies when you put all the combinations together.
Wow.
If anyone wants that, it's £100. I use that with my coaching clients, but you know, if you are interested, I might put it up for sale as a toolkit that you could download. But it gives you so many different options. So it's about looking at the situation and thinking, right, what does this situation require of me to get not the outcome that I want, but the best outcome? That's when I'm leading from the right thing to do versus my agenda. And then you can almost go, let me see what I've got in my toolkit for that. And there's lots of different ways of influencing. You might pick one of those premises. You might take a couple of the characteristics and then go, do you know what? And that the strategies are on a spectrum of push to pull.
Interesting, yeah.
Half of them sound like sex positions. This isn't the name of one, but what pops in my mind, there is one with like cowgirl in it. It just makes me think of the reverse cowgirl. But it's not a toolkit of sex positions. Maybe we'll create that as well. So yeah, I guess influence is about one, what it means.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've looked at those 4 different words. 2, letting go of the notion that it's about authority, status, job title.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about positional power, it's about personal power. And then it comes down to building that skill set, of having a toolkit of different techniques that you can deploy as the situation sees fit.
Yeah.
So it's not as complicated as you think it is.
I'm just thinking back to some of the podcasts we've done already, where again, there's probably lots of things to add to a toolkit. With emotional intelligence was our last episode.
Totally.
That's gonna more emotionally intelligent you are, the more influential you're gonna be. So it all kind of links in together, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah. And I think this could be said about your whole leadership toolkit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sharpen your saw in one area doesn't just give you benefits there. It's like the whole is greater than the sum of the parts in that sense, isn't it?
Yeah.
The more you work on specific skills, it raises your game up in more than one place.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. All of the things we talk about on this podcast will help you to have more influence for sure.
Yeah.
So something to think about. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think probably one last thing from me, I was just thinking then is don't feel that to influence people, you've got to be the loudest person in the room, because listening goes a long way when it comes to having conversations and influence. Yeah, because if we just said it before, if people don't feel like they're listened to by you, they're not going to probably want to listen back when it's your turn to speak. So I think that's really important. It's not feeling that only people that can use confidence in a loud way, which is not what confidence is about. But if you're in that thought process, don't think, well, I can't influence because I'm not the loudest person.
You can be quieter. Yeah. You can be more reserved. You can be a little bit more on the introverted end of the scale and have significant influence.
Yeah.
They are not. Is it right to say they're not mutually exclusive? Does that work? I always get that one a bit back to front. I'm like, with food and does it work? Just keep the same.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think, hopefully that helps, and that's giving you, again, a bit of food for thought.
Go out and have more personal power. And and actually that lends itself way more to a feminine energy side of things as well. Not a masculine. Positional power would sit at the masculine energy of the scale. So all these things do start to tie together. So yeah, let us know how you get on in being influential. We'd love to hear your stories. We'd love to get your questions. We'd love to hear your comments. Okay?
Yeah, definitely. Put them in the description below. Or the comments below, should I say. We will put some links in the description below. So as always, ways to get in touch with either of us will be in the show notes or the description. Our little link to buy me a coffee. Well, we haven't quite got the buy me a champagne one yet, but the Prosecco last time. I'm just going whole hog with champagne.
I don't actually like champagne.
No, don't you?
No.
Well, we need to.
I will say it, but I think I prefer Prosecco. Controversial.
I'm half French. I can't really say that. Yeah, for now, buy us a coffee on that link. But yeah, we again do hope that you are enjoying the podcast. One of my favourite numbers is coming up next, which is episode 11.
What is that one of your favourite numbers?
Wow, yeah, it's just like the whole 11 and 11. Yeah, it's one of my favourite numbers. So yeah, so that's coming up next. So keep watching, keep following, which means if you subscribe and hit the notification bell, you will get notifications whenever we release an episode. So yeah, thanks again for listening and watching, and
we'll see you on the sofa next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Lipstick, Laughs and Leadership.
If something in today's conversation resonated, take a moment to sit with it, or share this episode with someone who might need to hear it too.
You can subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and that really helps more women find these conversations.
We're glad you spent this time with us, and we hope you're leaving feeling a little more grounded, a little more confident, and a little less alone.
So we'll meet you back on the sofa next time.